The topic of onco-anesthesia is relevant to all of us anesthesiologists. Many of our patients undergo cancer surgery. We have lots of patients to care for, and this is why almost everyone in the daily clinical practice will be caring for patients undergoing cancer surgery. And I think the understanding of the pathophysiological circumstances are crucial in order to choose the best regimen for anesthesia and analgesia in this regard. One of the key concepts here is peri-operative inflammation. And if we think about what does the surgical stimulus do to the inflammatory state of the body, well, it leads to the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines and the initiation of signaling pathways leading to sustained inflammation, which might in turn then lead to disbalance of pro- and anti-inflammatory factors affecting also the immune system. During surgery, usually so-called circulating tumor cells are released from the tumor and are able to escape the body's immune surveillance system and then lead to the formation of new micrometastases during the perioperative period. And of course, this perioperative period is the very short period of time where we anesthesiologists are caring for these patients and are in charge of the medical treatment together with the surgical team. And I think we should at least try to optimize the anesthetic regimen in order to positively influence the outcome as much as possible. And as I said, the perioperative inflammation and its treatment might be one of the key concepts here. Well, unfortunately, there is no such thing as a perfect analgesic regimen in terms of oncologic outcome. But first of all, and most importantly, the regimen that you choose for your patient has to work in order to minimize pain, as we know that pain can also lead to persistent inflammation, and especially in cancer, it can also predict shorter cancer-specific survival. And of course, pain management is also a very important factor of how our work as anesthesiologists is judged by the patients and their families, and maybe also the other doctors involved in treatment. And of course, it affects tremendously the quality of life of our cancer patients in the postoperative period. So especially when it comes, for example, to opioids, there are several effects of these drugs that are very complex in terms of cancer. However, it has to be stated that opioids have to remain an essential group of drugs for adequate pain management, especially in our cancer patients, and they should not be denied to any patient who might need them for the treatment of their pain. In general, and due to the lack of consistent data as of now, and you can definitely see that also in our article, we cannot recommend any perfect or ideal specific analgesic regimen. However, until we gather more evidence, the choice of the drugs that we use for pain management in our daily clinical practice should still be based on the individual patient's needs, and therefore you should always consider, what does my patient need? As you might be aware of, there have been several reports that some of the drugs, for example, local anesthetics, might be beneficial in terms of their abilities to block the development of metastasis or the propagation of cancer in the perioperative period. However, there's still a large discrepancy between these promising findings coming from retrospective analysis or the lab and the data coming from randomized controlled trials. And unfortunately, so far, we have failed to translate these important and very promising findings from bench to bedside and to really have randomized controlled trials show that there is a beneficial effect. So now, what are the potential reasons for this discrepancy? Well, to put it in a nutshell, we could say tumor biology is, of course, much more complex than a laboratory experiment. In biology, we not only have tumor cells, but we also have the tumor microenvironment consisting of connective tissue and, of course, white blood cells also affecting tumor and its reactions to certain treatments. We have also the difficulties to translate findings from animal models into humans. And of course, as we know from our colleagues in oncology, the genetic diversity of tumors is so vast and large that we really don't know what our anesthetic and analgesic drugs might do to any specific tumor with a certain genetic phenotype. So in the future, I think our research should focus on biomarkers or personalized medicine and checking for genetic diversity and genetic maybe also predictors to be able to predict the effect of our anesthetics on cancer cells and tumors, and specific tumors in this case. So until we have more research, we should aim actually for a tailor-made anesthetic and analgesic regimen to be able to do that in the future. So in my opinion, and this is very general for us anesthesiologists and our specialty, it should always be the ultimate goal to optimize our approaches in order to maximize the potential benefit and minimize, of course, any potential harm. Whether we manage a patient undergoing cancer surgery or any other surgical or interventional procedure, this is, of course, always important and should be always on your mind when treating our patients.